All right. I'm having a wonderful conversation. We've just begun, but we've had a little bit of preliminary chat, and of course, I've been exposed to the CD that we're going to chat about. I am speaking with conductor Ralph Allwood, uh, member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. What did I do wrong?
That's all good. Oh, yeah,
Oh,
Allwood it is. Allwood, yes.
Allwood. Oh, yes, I must remember my pronunciations. One has to have a little bit more Allwood. Thank you, Ralph Allwood, member of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire. And I want to ask you a little further down about the man we're speaking about, Roderick Williams, who is officer of the Most Royal Order
Order.
of the British
Yeah,
Empire.
yeah.
And I wonder, is there a difference, member, officer? Does somebody have higher rank than the other?
Oh, he's got a higher one than me, yes.
I suspected. Members are members. Officers have swords. Something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so we are going to be speaking about the choral music uh, of this incredible major artist. We're talking again about Roderick Williams. He's a baritone who sings in all Covent Garden, everywhere. He has a major career as an opera singer, and somehow, I presume since a kid, and we're going to talk about your experience with him when he was a younger fellow, presumably he's been composing and just cannot get away from it, something like that, because these works are stunning. And I hope that many of my viewers, especially in North America, will be inspired to have a look at this particular CD. And there's another little small thing. Once upon a time, I was a student at Trinity College of Music in the early 70s. Studied with Bernard Keefe, studied conducting with Bernard Keefe. That was when the school was back at its rather confined near Oxford Street, heart of downtown London quarters. Now the school is Trinity Laban Conservatoire of Music and Dance, and it is at the spacious, incredible old Naval College quarters in Greenwich. I want to speak to you about just tell me, you'll bring me up to date on what's going on at Trinity, please. So here's what we're discussing once again. This is, by the way, the Trinity Laban Chapel Choir.
Trinity Laban, yes.
Oh, Laban, thank you.
Laban's
See?
a rhyme with carbon.
Okay, thank
Rhyme.
you. It's very tough. So, and of course, it'll take forever for me to Laban to get that correct. But anyway, thanks very much for the corrections. And I presume the Labans were wealthy patrons or something. How come the Trinity College of Music became Trinity Laban
Yes.
Conservatoire?
We moved out there from Mandeville Place
Yeah.
about 12 years ago or something, and saw this amazing chapel, and the organizers said, right, we must have choral scholarships, and it's the only conservatoire chapel choir in the world. So there's no other conservatoire runs a chapel choir.
Stunning, and also these are college level musicians.
Yes, yes. Singers, a lot of them are singers.
Beautiful,
And
astonishing sound. Yeah. Go ahead.
they're not all singers, but it just joined up with the dance, with the Laban Dance College, and to form the whole big thing.
Yeah, wonderful. Big improvement from my memories of the orchestra rehearsing in a tiny little dungeon of a basement of a building across the street, sort of thing, back in the early 70s. This is Signum Classics release from 2017. It is titled "The Sacred Choral Works of Roderick Williams." Has 16 choral pieces on this CD. Beautiful, gorgeous, imaginative, creative, expressive. Everything is there, and we must mention at least soprano Daisy Walford and Andrew Woodmansey tenor. And am I missing any other important soloists on that CD? Can you have it handy?
That's Michael Lafferty in Adonai,
Yes.
Rebecca Leggett in A Little Child Shall Lead Them. Archie Buchanan sings a little bit in Let Nothing Trouble You.
Yep.
Jocelyn Coates, Simon Oakley, and Roderick himself, of course, sings in one piece.
And these are, including, of course, Roderick, but these are kind of guests. That was the idea I had, of guest singers joining you.
No, they're all members of the choir.
Oh, they are. So I
Yeah.
see.
I reckon that every member of the choir is able to sing a solo. They're good enough to sing
Yeah.
a solo. So,
It shows so, and we're going to speak in a little bit about the magic of vocal music, the blend, all the rest of this. You've said in an absolutely fascinating video that I'm really looking forward to put up. By the way, with all of our interview, some of your other interviews, some rehearsal tapes, all of this good stuff, a link to buy the CD, everything goes up at my website, performingartsreview.net. I can't wait. I'm sure that particularly American choral directors are going to have considerable interest in Roderick Williams if they have not heard of this man before. The music is absolutely stunning. But you've said in one interview that I'll be posting, you said, find the spirit of the music, find what makes you feel better in the music, find what is good about the music, let them, the singers, concentrate on that. It's so simple, it's almost childlike. Can you explicate just a little bit?
Well, I have done a lot of singing with a lot of choir directors. I wanted to direct choirs ever since I was about 16, and I've watched them and I've sung for them, and I know that there are two main ways to the gold. One is by getting it technically absolutely tip-top, polishing it all up, saying not very much about the music and leaving that to the musicians to find it out. The other is concentrate on the pure gold of the music and see what and let all the technical things come in its wake. Of course, point them out.
Sure.
But don't lose sight of the golden aim that we have. And I think probably I tend towards finding the spirit and energizing everyone, because we learn better when we're energized, and that's how it goes, really.
Well, it's an amazing attitude, at very least.
Yeah.
On your part, and it's fully understandable, because our profession is about joy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's about being uplifted.
Yeah.
And Roderick Williams' music is all of that.
Yes.
Through and through. Very imaginative in the use of text and all that we'll speak about. But I mentioned earlier, and this is my way of addressing a question to you. I, in my own experience, have had a choral director in my life. I'm an instrumentalist, conducting, orchestral repertoire. That was my thing. But I've known this woman. She's passed now, but for many, many years, and her Phyllis Zimmerman was her name. She was a high school choir director in Santa Barbara, California. Nothing to get too excited about. But here's what she managed, and it always blew my brains out. And I see that you do the same. And you know where I'm leading with this. She would take voices of any kind, anywhere, any level, and create the most magnificent music with these singers. She could do anything with anybody. Okay. What is that? Because you do the same thing, obviously. What is it about the connection to singers and their...
The more and more, the more I go on, the more I realize that auditions are auditions of enthusiasm rather than of actual technique. Of course, one is listening for ability to read in a choir like this, because we get through such a lot of music, but people aren't going to be really motivated to do it unless they're enthusiastic. And also there's a big correlation between technique and enthusiasm as well. So, and it's the duty of every single music teacher, and I think of myself as a music teacher first and foremost, it's the duty of every music teacher to make sure that everybody who loves it and can be excited and enthused by it has a chance to do it. And you don't just take the best ones and leave all the rest out. You've got to do a bit for everyone, because enthusiasm is what it's all about, and it's going to be a joy in their life, and it's up to you to nurture it and help them to do it.
Absolutely, and you've done so. You were at Eton for many, many years, but your Eton choral, what were the retreats, studies, what course? The choral
course.
Yes.
They're now being taken over by the Rodolphus Choir.
Which is yours also. Foundation. Aren't you part of that as well?
Yeah,
yeah.
In fact, Rodolphus is my name in Latin, so so that's why they're called that.
These Europeans, they're so hard to keep up with. Go ahead.
But let me tell you, with 90 8 to 15-year-olds, the summer before last, we did the Bach Magnificat, and we have the staff sing as well, so the solos are covered, and they also join in the tenor and bass and make sure they're covered. But we also had enough money from the foundation to be able to get a baroque orchestra to accompany them. So we had a week, and they did that, and so many people with young people try and get them to do the music that they will like. That's not what education is. Education is to show them good music that they will absolutely adore if they get to know it. And the Bach Magnificat is one of that, and they're still talking about it. Yeah. But we do similar things on all courses.
Absolutely right. And by the way, you editorialize in the most discreet and marvelous manner, which is, it's the music. It's the music. If it's good music, it's going to inspire. If it's bad music, absolutely. nothing goes anywhere. You know.
What's the point? Absolutely.
And I love also, again, because I watch you make the remark, go ahead, drink your wine. I can't do that yet. Anyway, sorry. But what I love is your remarks about, over the years, I've got it right here, over the years, the more I have relaxed in my conducting, you say, the more I am able to relate physically to the music. Can you explain, please? Because as I get older, I'm not really conducting very much anymore. My moment happened. I'm more or less retired now. But I also have this, remember when we were young and we flapped our hands continuously and every dramatic moment was done dramatic, all that stuff. The older I get, the more I realize that quietness, less movement is better. Can you speak to that, please? Because that's what you do.
Colin Davis, bless him, I saw him taking a masterclass of conductors, and somebody stood up in front of the orchestra, and went like that, you see, and all this, and he said, stop waving around in the air, stop bashing the air, just let them show you how it goes. And I always remember, that's a beautiful way of putting it. Let them show you how the music goes. So you say, come on, everyone, show me how it goes. It's amazing how we all sing together. Do you know that test they did? Well, I wish I knew chapter and verse, but they got 12 musicians into 12 soundproof chambers and had a microphone in each soundproof chamber. They all played different instruments. They couldn't hear each other. They could see the conductor. And we could hear the result. The conductor had to try and keep them together. The conductor wasn't able to keep them together. They couldn't do it because they couldn't hear each other. Get those people out, put them together, let the conductor put his hands in his pockets, and they would all play together far better. So when I'm doing psalms with this choir, the Old Naval College Trinity Laban Chapel Choir, as it's called, it's got the longest name in the world. I say to them for psalms, I say, off you go, when we're rehearsing, and they breathe absolutely together and they sing absolutely together. Not even anybody going like this at one side. No. They just breathe together, sing intelligently, and they'll find that the intelligence, where the intelligence guides them is the same as where someone else's intelligence guides them. Where their love of the music guides them is to the same moment in the phrase, which is the most important thing. And it's together. And that's how it works. And then you as conductor join in.
Yes, well spoken.
It's already happening, and you join in and you say, thank you very much, I'm loving this, and I'm going to join in. As I often say to them, I will conduct because my public demands it. But I'm not actually directing you, I'm just joining in for fun. It's you that's doing it.
And it also reminds me of a comment that blew me away as a young conductor, and it's so true. These musicians who sit before a conductor, especially a young conductor, have played this music more times than the conductor will ever conduct it. So I understand exactly what you're saying about letting them. And not to put too simple a tone to it, of course you have been responsible over the years for helping them in many ways to see this. And a conductor is not altogether useless. right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
You're a teacher as much as anything else, and you know, teaching is important.
Yeah,
Very, very.
give me a little overview of the. You said that you're not doing the Eton choral courses now. Or oh no, you're doing it in conjunction with Rodolphus. Yeah. Well, what is that? I noticed somewhere 5 times a year. Are these trips to other countries? Or are they just workshops for a week? How does that work?
Well, I started them in 1980 as one course to help people who wanted to be choral scholars to Oxford and Cambridge, and not only help people who wanted to be choral scholars, but help get other schools interested, because I thought that very few other schools seem to know about them. There are a few schools like Eton, Harrow, Winchester, Tiffin at State School, and a few more that knew about choral scholarships, and the rest didn't. And I wanted to show loads of people. And since then, I should say about 8,000 people have been on courses. And 8,000 have been on courses. Is that your dog? Oh,
that is a passing motorized vehicle, because I live in little downtown Santa Barbara, which even has its traffic.
I thought at the moment I thought it was a dog growling. Anyway,
nice.
Nowadays, this next year we're going to have 4 of those courses, 3 junior ones, which a friend and I started about 7 years ago, 4 in China, and possibly I'm just discussing one in Texas, in Austin, in Texas. So
part of me goes, Austin, Texas? You're discussing China, and I have a feeling there's a good reason. The musicianship coming out of China that I've seen, young kids, elementary kids, a band that plays perfectly. I still don't understand what that teaching technique is in Japan, but it's extremely, and China as well, very, very special. How come Texas came up? What's that about? I think you
just Jonathan Babcock there got in touch with me and said he was interested, and I'm going over to see him next March, and we'll talk more. And I'm sure he'll get it off the ground. But they're essentially a week of study of singing really good music together in beautiful places, and it's not just me. I get other people in to take practice and things.
Sure. And I've already heard and read and seen the responses to many of these young singers and older singers even who've been involved in these courses, and you might even get a plaque for after you're gone. I mean, you have affected, as you said, 8,000 plus, including a certain fellow by the name of by the name of Roderick Williams. I get Allwood and Williams a little mixed up. Roderick Williams, you first encountered Roderick as a young, was he baritone? Then he has a lovely high range as well.
Yes, he was a baritone. And actually, he was encouraged to come on the course by his an English teacher at Haberdashers, who is my brother-in-law. And he gave him early advice in choral scholarships, and he presumably encouraged him to come on the course. And that's how I knew him. And he then got a choral scholarship to Magdalen, Oxford. And he was always a really first-class fellow with highly intelligent approach to music, but also got great joy from it, with a beautiful voice.
Yes.
And
he's a special human being, clearly. You know how you can just tell. There's just something very, very special and instantly likable, really very humble, just from a couple of videos I've seen of a couple of performances. Just a wonderful man. And then to have this kind of compositional talent. I mean, it's one thing to be a professional singer and you try your hand at a piece here and there, but this whole CD is chock-a-block with really major, gorgeous choral works.
Absolutely.
Fabulous.
Absolutely. It's amazing. And he's gradually, as he's been involved in one thing or the other, operas, he's got the hang of he's got the hang of another technique, of another composer's technique, and gradually he has learnt from them, and then choral ideas occur to him, and he writes another choral piece.
Yeah, and it's not as though he's influenced by work he's preparing, let's say Benjamin Britten, and maybe imitates a certain kind of Britten-esque thing. There's something utterly unique and original. He absorbs these styles from various composers and then creates his own original work. And I really mean original, a beautiful use of harmony, wonderful balanced, gorgeous blends. I mean, it's expert compositionally.
It is. Yeah.
So I salute you for and he's already mentioned in the program notes that he's very grateful for this opportunity. Well, I think we should all be grateful. You just get you and Laban. Have I got this right?
Trinity Laban.
Trinity Laban. School. It was so much easier when it was just Trinity College of Music. Anywho, have done a great service. This is really, I really can't wait to put this up and see if we get some nibbles from various choir directors. You know, and I mentioned this compositional technique, his expertise really, and I presume it's just, did he take any sort of composition? I don't see anywhere that he took any.
I don't think so, no. I don't think so. He just started writing. But he's such a highly intelligent musical fellow that he effectively took lessons because he looked at other people's work and saw people at work and has absorbed it. So, you know.
Well, we don't have time to really speak to every single piece on the program, but let me just go down here because of course I'm going to be putting up my remarks. I now call them remarks rather than a review these days. Having received advice that my old habit of writing 800 or 900 words is ridiculous, nobody reads anymore. So my remarks will be coming up soon. But so many wonderful pieces. I was just taken from the very beginning. Let nothing trouble you. Just exquisite compositional technique. Can you tell me a little bit about preparing these particular works? Are they because there are some wonderful contemporary harmonies, some very special sounds? Is there anything in particularly different, or it's just the same old thing that you do with everybody and to create a
no? Some of them are instantly readable, but because this choir they're all good readers. And we get it more or less straight away. We're doing the Poulenc Mass on Sunday, and we've had a couple of rehearsals for that, but it's so tricky. But Let Nothing Trouble You is not too difficult, and nor is O Guiding Light, and they were reasonably swift. Something like Love Bade Me Welcome is quite a bit more difficult because he uses quite advanced jazzy kind of techniques for it,
and it's very subtle. The jazz element is very subtle, beautiful. Very nice. So that was a little tricky to put together because of these techniques, this jazzness that you have to.
Yes. Love Bade Me Welcome has got some quite awkward chromatic harmony that needs to be very carefully judged and put together. Hymn as well. Hymn,
yes,
is quite difficult, and O Saviour of the World is very difficult because that's sort of almost atonal.
I was going to say, my notes indicate very contemporary writing, anguished indeed.
Yes.
That his choice of text, again, speaking to his intellect. I saw a little interview with Roderick about Venturaiza. And this is a work that will take another 400 years to fully understand the subtlety of Schubert's use of text. So I'm on about the Napoleonic Wars and world wars in general, and how tremendously these events traumatize an entire planet for years afterward. And that's how I think of Schubert now, clearly traumatized by the Napoleonic Wars. And meditating, and the poets of the time and all of that, the Moscow campaign and Venturaiza and so on. It's amazing. Let's see. Let me see if I've forgotten anything critical. No, I guess I'm still curious about, and I'm not quite sure I got an answer. Maybe I wasn't listening. But something about walking into a room, as you do, because you're often asked to come in, and you've mentioned this, asked to come and help a choir to improve its sound or to find some secrets in the music that they're preparing. Is it did we answer this question about voices and the idea that you can go to Hoboken, Tennessee. Forgive me, I hope it doesn't exist, but a remote little place and a remote little group of amateur singers, maybe even high school singers, and can somehow transform that. Is there that the singing? Is it that easy? I'm probably simplifying it too much.
Yes, you wouldn't be able to do Quare Fremuerunt Gentilis by Roderick Williams,
No.
nor would you be able to do O Saviour of the World,
Yes.
because that needs considerable musical experience and technical know-how,
Yeah.
and knowledge of music theory and reading ability and knowing of intervals and being able to balance them and all that. However, you can get some reasonable sound out of, you could do something like Hallelujah Chorus. You can do things in unison. For years, I got Eton, the top 2 years of Eton, 550 boys singing Hallelujah Chorus unison part. The da da dee dum da da dee da 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 dum, all together and absolutely loving it. Or For Requiem Liberame together and absolutely loving it. And that's a whole lot of people who aren't necessarily schooled in music in any way. So yes, you can get an effect, and you can get a result that they love and which will raise spirits, which is what after all we're talking about.
Yeah, and
raise spirits of the people who are doing it, and thus raise the spirits of the people who are listening as well.
Yes, and also raise the spirit indeed, so that amateur singers can be encouraged to continue. There's nothing worse in just about anything than someone that says no.
Yeah.
No.
Well, so often you hear people say, and the worst conversation I have at parents' meetings and things at schools is, or after a concert or something, they come up and they say, I'm going to tell you something very funny. When I was at school, and you shudder and you think, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, when they were at school, and they do, out it comes, and I squirm. When I was at school, I couldn't quite sing on the note, and I kept going, instead, and my teacher told me to mime instead. And you think, oh no, or else my teacher told me I couldn't get into the thing. I've taken 2, 3, 4 choirs just recently of children that I've been responsible for. There are all sorts of other ones around here that I do, where you hear most of them singing the right note and 1 or 2 of them going, Please, teachers, be patient. They wouldn't be making a sound if they didn't want to. They'd be doing nothing. But they are going because they want to. And if all of a sudden, if you're patient and you encourage that person, they'll go la 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 and sing a tune. And when they do, the thrill is far more than those other people are getting from doing it, because they can do it already anyway. They've achieved a huge amount. So I will hand on heart say that I've never told a child in my life, right from when I started, not to sing because they're making a funny noise. Yeah. You just let them sing and trust, and it always happens. Absolutely. You've got to pitch it right. You've got to find a simple enough song, but you can always find a simple enough song which is good. It doesn't have to be feeble. It has to be good music. Who says what's good music? I do, you do, she does, he does. We have our opinions, but look at J.S. Bach. All of our opinions come together about J.S. Bach. Oh gosh, isn't that amazing? He is supreme. Okay, other people are supreme. Gershwin, the Beatles, they're all people who are supreme. Do pieces by them, and Bernstein, and you're going to get some good music. Yeah. That went on a long time, didn't it?
No, that's lovely. We're eating up time in a good manner. But this is really so crucial about the tremendous responsibility of conductors in all genres. Yeah. And I'm reminded just very briefly once again. I started the Santa Barbara Youth Symphony when I was 16. I'm very proud of that. It's going on its 53rd season. But of all the various young conductors that have taken that position since I moved on, one And he conducts in Canada now. An orchestra in Canada was one of those cities of 600,000 people that you've never heard of, somewhere up in Saskatchewan or somewhere. But it's a professional orchestra. Anyway, he had the youth symphony for a couple of years, and he kept saying to them, to these kids, play beautifully. Play beautifully. Let's play beautifully. And, it's an abstract term, play beautifully. What does that mean? And they got it. And they played beautifully for him. So the psychological duties that we owe our charges at the professional level. I'm going to use
that. That's very good. Thank you. I'm going to use that. Well, Sing beautifully.
Very well. But it's so interesting. In other words, I think what I'm trying to say with that remark is that the brain understands more than we think we might.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just as in dance, the brain absorbs so much fast and detailed movement that you think it couldn't possibly have absorbed in a ballet performance or something.
The brain is unbelievable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So what haven't we touched on? I wonder if you might just kind of give me an overview of the programs at, I'm going to try get it right again, Trinity Laban Conservatoire.
It's the Old Royal Naval College Trinity Laban Chapel Choir. Trinity joined with Laban. They set up in the Old Royal Naval College because the Royal Navy had left it and went somewhere else. It is the most beautiful Wren designed and others designed area. It's got a chapel, which
beautiful
is absolutely beautiful.
I'll put up some pictures. But also, is the school occupying the whole, with the dance department and so on, occupying pretty much that whole building?
There's another department outside for the dance, and there is University of Greenwich as well, which occupies that area.
Yeah.
But we sing evensongs on a Monday at 5:30, so that's the time to come and hear.
Thank you. An excellent plug for those in the UK watching.
Sunday morning and is Eucharist, but then Monday evening during term time, 5:30. Brilliant.
Lovely. About an hour program, 40-minute program, something like that.
Evensong about 40 minutes at the most.
Yeah, I used to do that in Seattle. I can't remember the time of day. It was an Episcopalian famous church there in Seattle, and their choir was, of course, magnificent and had ringers.
There's a website now, gradually getting all over the world, choralevensong.org, choralevensong.org, and you can just put in your postcode or your zip code and find the choral evensong nearest you.
Oh, nice. Well done. A fabulous plug. But what other choral programs are at Trinity? And I'm just going to use Trinity if you don't mind.
There's a chamber choir, and there is the undergraduates choir, and one or two smaller ensembles.
With other conductors? There's your...
I only do the chapel choir.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that again, hierarchy in a way. In other words, you're working with the best of the best, the chapel choir.
Well,
correct?
The chamber choir is superb as well, so they get some.
Of course, sorry, I didn't mean to lead you into trouble there. Well, what have I forgotten to ask you that you're dying to tell us all about music or the choir or whatever?
Oh well, actually tomorrow we're combining with another choir of mine, which is Queen's Cambridge, and who do 3 services a week, and we'll be singing in St Martin in the Fields in Trafalgar Square in London, which is lovely. And there was one track I wanted to say about Quare Fremul Gentes, which is why do the nations so furiously rage together, which is what we all ask ourselves constantly. We ask ourselves at the moment, don't we? Why do people furiously rage at each other? Why do people go to war? Anyway, I had asked Roderick to write a piece. I commissioned him to write a piece for this disc. And I thought it was going to be a gentle little thing with oohs and ahs and cheesy lyrical sort of character, and for him to sing. So I was asking him to write it for him to sing with us accompanying. And instead, he writes this great 8-part, or was it 12-part texture? I can't quite remember.
It's a huge work, I remember that. And I rember the text is very serious.
I think it's more or less 12-part texture, or even 16-part at times. And with him as solo, going all over the place. And it starts, why do the nations... And then that's the end of its diatonic life. and it then goes crazy.
But that's
And
also a tiny fragment of quote from the Handel, yeah? Why do the
yeah,
nations...
yeah, exactly, and that's it.
So,
That's your
yeah.
lot. So we've been asking for years why the nations rage together, and but this is a really ragey piece, and amazing.
So
and
you're happy with the commission?
Oh yes, yes. I'm afraid I haven't done it since because it requires a hell of a lot of preparation. But I will do it. I will do it soon. I will put it down for as an anthem.
And what do you think's going on with Roderick Williams? How do you think his career will morph? I mean, here's a man who's gifted in two very important areas. Do you see him as a major choral composer?
I think he's so well known as a baritone that that's how he will carry on, because he does sing so musically. Yes. He has a wonderful baritone range. It's a lovely sound, and he puts himself over so well. Also, he can talk about it so effectively, and he's so good to work with because he's just the most charming person. I think he'll carry on doing that because there are more good composers in the ring than there are absolutely outstanding baritones, and so I think probably that's what he'll do. But then there's room for somebody that does both, and the old expression, jack of all trades, master of none, has always troubled me, because I've always thought, well, supposing there is someone who can do lots of things excellently. Yes. What about that then, eh? Is that master of none? And it isn't. So it's a very bad expression, and which leads people to make some bad decisions about what they will take up, and what they will do. And I think you are guided by your passion. And he does both extremely well, and I think he'll carry on doing both extremely well, and that is Roderick Williams.
And at a certain point, the voice will will need to retire. Yeah.
Well,
come on.
Yes, I suppose so. But the way it happens at varying ages, and the way he sings is with such good technique and has a kind of gentleness to it, which I think will probably see him singing resiliently for many years.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That was very well spoken also, my impression of his voice. It's a lasting voice. He's already something like 55. I mean, he's doing, I think, I hope I haven't misspoken there, but, and the voice is stunning. So he knows how to take care of his voice very well. He has a wonderful career there. And somehow in his spare time, he's cranking out these incredible choral works. So he's doing it for us. He's fulfilling the model of a what do you call those people who are multiply talented? In any case, that's what Roderick is.
No, the word you're looking for is derogatory. So it's a derogatory word. So I won't won't try and think about it because it implies that you're no good at everything. If you
yes, that's right. Polyglot was on my mind or something like that.
No, polyglot's okay. There's another one that I can't quite remember, and I won't try and remember it because it's not a very nice word.
Okay, good. But luckily I found polyglot. As in people that just have these tremendous, and there's one other that's about people who just have these tremendous multiple skills and can multitask. I am not very good at multitasking, I'm afraid. I have to sort of manage to stay focused on something till it's done, and then I move to the next. So it always amazes me when I run into these kind of human beings. It's fabulous. We're going to bring it down now. We're talking about a Signum Classics release, a British label. I will put up all the information in our wonderful, I hope, interview, to say nothing of the interior of your incredible home that people can gaze at.
Right in the middle of London, it is.
Oh, really? Even better. We're talking about, I'm expecting Sherlock to come in the door and ask for Holmes. Your site is so quaint in the 19th century. I love it. Roderick Williams, Sacred Choral Works. Here we go. Old Royal Naval College, Trinity, Laban, Chapel Choir. Did I get anywhere close?
You got it totally. Yeah.
Oh, you're being too kind. I'm chatting with more than conductor, a great, wonderful human being who projects this humaneness, and that is our profession. This joy that the world needs so much. Ralph Allwood, it's been a great pleasure chatting with you. An even greater pleasure too. I'm so glad I discovered the CD and asked to be able to review it. That's a real discovery for me, and I hope for many other people as well. Thanks much.
Very good.
We
Thank you very
will
much
speak
indeed.
another time. Bye bye.
Okay.